That's not a try, that's a miracle.
You can take me now. I have seen it all.
Welcome back to the Go On for 10 show. Obviously, like he said, you can take me now. I've seen it all. Obviously, that will finish the week where that quote probably makes a lot of sense with what's happened. Baxter's all smiles, but we will get into that, obviously, with the final game of the round. We are here for the round preview. We will talk about each game individually. We'll go into a little bit more depth in the talking points, obviously. Tonight, there is a judiciary, so there will be news that we will talk about, obviously, for Newcomb with his tackle on Crichton. We do hope Crichton, obviously, he has had successful surgery. We do hope he recovers and he has no long-term injuries to deal with when it comes to that. Obviously, the suspected, I'm going to say at the moment, eye gouge on Tino, because there still is not an outcome on that. We'll see what happens from there. But Baxter, we'll jump straight into, obviously, the first game to kick off Thursday night football. And it was a bit of an upset. It was the Eels going down 36-14 to the Broncos at home. Now, for me, this is a game that I thought the Broncos did have a chance. I did think the Eels would come away with it, but I don't think anyone, even most Broncos fans, would have seen a 36-14 performance here. They've absolutely brushed aside the Eels. And obviously, I sent you my predictions for the ladder. We went through both of us our ladder predictions for the year, and I had Eels missing the top 8. And this is a performance where, does it look like they're a big chance of missing this top 8, or are they really just there to make up the numbers even if they do make it?
No, I don't think they're going to be there. Just looking at the ladder, you sort of write off from the Dogs down because they're on 12 points. So virtually the Dragons, Raiders, Seagulls, and Roosters are all in the hunt to get that 8th spot. Potentially Eels dropping out. Obviously, there was rumours around Brad Arthur leaving the club or this and that. Mitch Moses might be headed back to the Tigers, and there was all this negative sort of media around the Eels before game, and I think that led onto the on-field performance there. They just didn't like they weren't quite themselves, and this is the bad time to sort of have those cobwebs in the wardrobe there. So you need to air them out, and they need to go back to the drawing board for the Eels. But Broncos, what a performance! Adam Reynolds, the buy of the season, if not one of them. And hopefully they charge home with a top 4 performance.
Yeah, and obviously looking more at this game, obviously Sivo did open up the scoring in the 4th minute, and I guess you wouldn't have been too bad if you turned around and said, okay, here we go, it's an onslaught. The Eels are going to take him to the sword now. I'm going to look to one man here, and obviously he put in an absolute cracking performance. He did get on the score sheet, and I think it's the player that almost turned this into Brisbane's favour, and it's Payne Haas. Now, he suffered a lot of injuries. He was rested a fair bit. He missed Origin. I'm going to talk to you, obviously, as a Queenslander. You've seen what Payne Haas can do. You've seen what he's done now rested. How thankful are you that he did not play in, obviously, Game 3?
Not really fast. You can only play with what's in front of you, and he wasn't there. So, yeah, we'll enjoy the Shield for the time being.
Well, obviously, like you said, Adam Reynolds, absolute masterclass. He got a try. He kicked 6 from 6 with the boot. So it was an all-round great performance by, obviously, Adam Reynolds and Brisbane. They've put themselves in that top 4, and it wouldn't surprise me if they do cement that top 4. So fair play. I'm not going to go as far as saying he's the signing of the season just yet, because you have a certain Nico Hines chasing him behind him, who's been unbelievable for Cronulla. So we'll leave that there. Fair play to the Broncos. Maybe the Broncos are back, but boy, it's going to be one hell of a final series if these teams keep performing like this. But we'll move into another team, like you said, that is fighting for that top 8, and it is the Dragons, and they have knocked off Manly 20-6. And obviously, we're not going to go too much into the drama that is currently filled with Manly in the media, because there's a lot of political things going on with their jersey. Everyone's going to have their own opinion, but this game right here was a must-win game for Manly, and now they're coming into a game against the Roosters, who it could be a top 8 clash, or it is a top 8 clash. The winner goes 2 points clear into the 8, and we've now got all this drama that's unfolding before us. So, talking purely about this game here, I thought Ben Hunt again, mate. Someone give that guy a massage. Somebody help him carry that load because, mate, if they somehow make this into the finals, I think Ben Hunt deserves to get paid the whole salary cap, and everyone else, he can just take him out for lunch because that's all they're worth without Ben Hunt playing. But Baxter, I'll ask you, obviously, give your thoughts on the game, give your thoughts on the result, but has Ben Hunt locked up the Dally M in your eyes?
Look, he has played terrifically since it's been gone behind closed doors, obviously winning Queensland the state of origin there, but just his club performance is impressive. It shows that some teams can't play weather football, and there's a fair few of them that can, and I think the Dragons and Ben Hunt showed that they can. It looked impressive coming out of the blocks, and yeah, was a reckon to be a force to be reckoned with, actually. Sorry, and just hopefully they cruise into the 8 and show back to the fans what they can do. But unlucky Manly, and I'm not going to talk about their off-field stuff at the moment, but yeah, they just something's going wrong, and they need to figure it out. Stat.
100%. And like we said, obviously, Ben Hunt, absolute masterclass. He did pick up 2 tries in this crucial win for the Dragons to all but keep their season alive. I think if the Dragons lost this game, you could probably have almost put a line through them. But obviously, by them beating Manly, it puts them even on points in that top 8 now. There's questions to be asked about this Dragons side. I think if they do make the 8, they are just making up the numbers. However, I think they will fall just short. But if, let's say tomorrow, Josh, you're appointed as the Dolphins recruiter, you're here to sign players, surely Ben Hunt is one of those names that you've got top of your list that you're trying to draw across from the Dragons right now.
Yeah, he's probably up there. He's probably in the top 5, but obviously I don't know how many more years he's signed on for at the Dragons, so that could be a worry. But yeah, if he was off contract, him, Munster, take your pick, throw the book at him.
All right. Well, obviously, like we said, the Dragons move equal at the time, equal into the top 8, but they do drop out of that top 8, and it is at the expense of my boys who put an absolute, let's say, masterclass minus 10 minutes, because that last 10 minutes was a bit shaky. We did concede those 2 tries that did make this score, I'm not going to say respectable, but I think as a Roosters fan, very disappointing that we did let those tries go in. But I think the main talking point before we talk about anything in this game is obviously Kalen Ponga. Obviously, he has had another concussion. It is his 4th failed concussion in as many weeks. Obviously, his season is over. That was revealed on the Matty John show. His season is over. He won't play again this season. So, obviously, he's just been signed up to that $5 million across 5 years, $1 million a season. For me, I hope he's all right. He's probably never going to listen to this, but obviously we're all with him here. If he obviously he's struggling, I hope everyone does rally behind him. I thought it was a very touching film with Val. I think it was Val Holmes that asked him when they crossed live at the end of your game. I thought that was very touching. Yeah. But obviously the Knights took a 2-0 lead early. The Roosters kind of turned the afterburners on. Luke Keary opened up the scoring. It was great to see him back. It was great to not see him get concussed in a game. Suaalii, Tedesco, they did their job. But my main takeaway here, and I don't know if you agree with me here, was that Keary and Walker finally lined up in their right positions. We weren't trying to make Keary a 7 and make Walker a 6. We let Keary beat a 6. We let Walker run the show. And we've seen, yes, it's only Newcastle, but for me, it works. So what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he looked impressive up until the 70th minute, but I think he had the game in the bag, so 2 tries is fair enough to put on that after that masterclass to let in. It was good. You know, Walker playing the 7, Keary playing the 6. I think it was my call, I think, to you off pod at the start of the season. I think that's where it needed to go. Obviously, in your first few games, wasn't really clicking, but now it is clicking. It only takes time for the Roosters there, and if they can get it right down to the pat, where it's just it's just playing on the cusp. I think they can be a force to be reckoned with, and they can push for the top into the. Sorry, what am I saying? Into the deep into the final. Sorry, but yeah, as you said, Kalen Ponga for the season, he's out, mate. Just take the boots off, chuck them in the wardrobe, put your feet up, and really just get your mind set, your head rested, and maybe take up a different sport, maybe darts or golf, something that requires less body contact there. But as you said, he signed that $5 million contract for 5 years. Adam O'Brien's got to get the best out of that, because at the moment he hasn't provided really Knights with anything. So he has to show something for the money he's being given. And I think this is another one you just chalk down and toss it in the bin for the Knights and move on to 2023.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, like you said, that last 10 minutes maybe will raise a bit of concern to Trent Robinson. But when you look at a bench of, I think it was Tedesco, Hargraves, Angus Crichton, and someone else, they're sitting on the bench with 15 minutes to go. You can kind of afford to let 2 tries. The game's dead. It's buried. You've got a big game against Manly coming up. But obviously, good signs. We're in the 8. Hopefully, we can keep pushing forward. And like Sammy Walker said, we're not just in the finals to make up numbers if we make it. They're ready to give it a hard crack and push on to the second, third, and maybe the final if we can make it that far. But moving on to another team that's in the hunt. They were 14-0 down. They did turn it around at home. They might be coachless after Ricky Stewart's injured himself in the celebration, but it is the Canberra Raiders 26, the Warriors 14. I guess you could call it a story of 2 halves. The Warriors came out. They dominated that first half. They put the pressure on. They got out to the 14-0 lead, and that's where it stopped. The Raiders scored a minute after the return. They then scored another try with Sebastian Kris in the 59th minute, and then the superstar that no one expected to be a superstar on the day, Corey Harinira, pops up with 2 tries. He should have had a third. I don't think he thought the third was going to bounce up to him. He should have put that third down. He's lost a pretty simple board, a simple hat trick that you don't get too many times. But if you're going to win premierships, you need to win games at home. And I think the Raiders have shown that GIO Stadium in Canberra is a fortress. And this is a great performance, and it shows why Ricky was given that extension that he did get last week.
Yeah, all the best wishes to Ricky and his hopping performance there. I've never seen him go down it so easily. But it was a great game. Was it the best move to put Walsh onto the bench and start whoever they did? It did look like that, as you said, 14-0. It looked impressive, but that second half, they need experienced troops there in the middle to just keep the composure, complete your sets, kick long, defend well, get the ball back and repeat and hold this Raiders out. As you said, Raiders are pushing sniffing for that 8, and hopefully they make it. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. But hats off to them, and another one. Warriors discard this year and look on for 2023.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, you got to feel bad for the Warriors. They have been a touching story the last couple of years, but obviously they just don't seem to have it. Walshy, although on the sideline, he was really keen to come on. I think by putting him on the bench, it's kind of showing that no one's bigger than the team. And if you're not going to be here, we're going to try and figure it out without you, and we'll use you when you need you. So fair play to obviously the coach. Fair play to Walshy for coming on and giving it a hard crack when he came on. But ultimately, the Raiders had too much experience and too much manpower to get him over the line. But arguably the game of the season, game of the round, it probably gave us a taste of semi-final football. It was the Panthers 20 taking on Cronulla. And to me, this game had a September come early feel. They came out. It was a tough match. We will talk about, obviously, the massive tackle by Finucane shortly, but I guess if you've got to take something away from here, it's the Shark can really be a threat come finals, Baxter, but is it the Panthers, maybe we've all questioned when they're under pressure, can they survive? Did they just prove that they can survive when they are under pressure?
I don't think they, what you're saying, can survive. I think they just pressure to them is not known to them. And I think they just use the pressure in their own way to make something happen. I think they just keep playing the way they do. And then eventually teams either just collapse and it just all falls for them and they just run away with it. Or they come into a gritty game like this and, they're down by 2 points, 10-8 at halftime, and things just open up and they get 2 tries and they're back into it, or 3 tries and they're in front and it looks good. I'm lucky to Stephen Crichton with his ear. Looked a bit sore. With Dale, he misses. I think the judiciary has ruled that he's missing 2 games. So he missed against the Dogs and the Dragons for a grade 2 dangerous contact. I don't agree with it. I thought this was just and as the comments say there on NRL.com, that he's just looking for a game changer. He's down. The team's down by 2, and he's just trying to get the momentum of the team going, and it's just head to head accidentally, and Crichton's the worse off, but I think Dale would love to be playing the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think you've put that quite politely. We spoke off air before we did come on here. I think it's an absolute joke that he did get suspended. At no stage there might be a minor angle where it shows it, but at no stage have we seen her as footage being released that he made contact with the shoulder. It was a head-to-head contact. So, yes, you can say it's reckless. Yes, you can say the excessive force that was used, but we're not playing touch football. We're not playing Oztag. He has every right to go in there, and as bad as it sounds, he has every right to go in there and try and put a hit on that's going to hurt someone. We see it every single tackle. The big props, they go in there, they try and smash each other. This one's gone wrong. They collided faces, but again, is the judiciary saying that he purposely led with his head? No. Well, then it was accidental. So I don't see how he's getting suspended for 2 weeks here. If, and we'll talk about it later, the Cowboys game, the bunker is getting stood down. Ashley Klein is getting stood down. My question is, why is this bunker not in trouble? Because they reviewed it on the day and said the tackle was fine, play the ball.
Yeah, it is a bit of a weird one. Obviously, Ashley Klein being the on-field referee in this game, so it was funny enough. He didn't see a problem with it. Bunkers overruled it and given a pen. And was it a pen? Wait, was it a pen? Just refresh my memory. Was it nothing?
They played
given?
The ball. Nathan Cleary played the ball. Stephen Crichton's position.
Well, obviously off. Yeah. I don't know. Like, we asked for consistency from the referees, and I know after the Cowboys and Tigers game, a few people, I shouldn't say a few, but a lot of people were saying they just want consistency from the referees. But it's a bit difficult when you've got 4 or 5 different referees being on the field, and then you got a different referee in the bunker who might see a completely different way to you. And we've had our hot topics over the weekend about what's happened, and we haven't seen eye to eye always. So should the bunker look at having maybe 2 or 3 referees or officials in the bunker at all times, so that it is the consistent referee that whole weekend? So if we can say, he's ruled on one tackle in game 1, and it's fine, but then game 8, so to say, the same tackle, the same tackle almost is fine too, because the same people are in the bunker. And then the next week's a bit different because obviously you've got different people if not. But it's one for the NRL to discuss and go away with it. But I don't know what your thoughts about the bunker is.
Well, I'll quickly, before we jump into the bunker, I will read, obviously, what it does say on the NRL website about the decision. It's got the decision of the panel is unanimous and did not require a vote from justice below. The panel considered the player was careless in his contact. The panel is satisfied that the contact was dangerous and it involved an unacceptable risk of injury to the opposing player. The panel found that the unacceptable risk was brought about by a manner in which Finucane executed the tackle. Now, take that as you will. He's missing 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure it was Stephen Crichton that was charged with a shoulder charge in this and got away with a fine. So, make it as you will. You see swinging arms where people make contact to the head, they get fines. Why is that any different to what this is? Whatever. Is it because they're taking into account what happened to the player? They probably are. But on your fact about, obviously, the bunker, and I'm sure this is going to come up later because we did get a bit heated in our inbox regarding the Cowboys and the Tigers game. But my co-worker spoke to me this week about the NFL, and apparently what they do over in the NFL is when they go away to games, for the whole year, you're with the exact same refereeing crew. You've got your bunker, for example, give yourself 2 linesmen and a head referee. No matter what game that referee referees, he has his same linesman, he has his same bunker. I think if you do that, at least you're going to have consistency from that ref. You might not have consistency in every single game, but you'll have consistency from that ref. They'll understand each other. They'll be able to go through that. So that's probably my first look at the bunker. Again, when you've got human error, there's always going to be something that stuffs up. And I think we've seen it not once, but twice this weekend. But we have been jumping on this game for a little bit. So we do have a few more games to cover. We'll jump into the Rabbitohs 24. Oh, no, that's the Sharks, the Storm. The Rabbitohs 24, the Storm 10. Latrell Mitchell probably didn't do as much as we thought he was going to do in this game, but he did everything he had to do right. And the Rabbitohs look scary as Storm lose 4 straight. So what are your thoughts on that? And can the Rabbitohs go all the way? Is there a potential that with a healthy Latrell they can?
Yeah, possibly. Latrell could has that fire in his belly to push that Rabbits all the way to grand final victory. It was just a bit shocked about the comments that Craig Bellamy after the game. He said, "I don't believe we can turn it around now." We know, Craig. We know that yes, one loss in a season or a loss in a game. The next week you don't want to come up. Now this is 4 straight. This is unknown territory to them, and I think Craig said the right thing to the players. Instead of saying it privately, he said it publicly. He doesn't believe he can do it, and I think this is going to trigger these senior players that they're going to have a good look at themselves and say, well, if the coach doesn't believe in us, we're going to go prove him wrong and show him that we are Melbourne Storm players. Obviously, they're looking to get a number of players on loan from a range of clubs down at the bottom end. Neither are willing to give those players up. Hopefully they get Corey Oates back in the next few weeks and they can find some consistency out there on the wing. But you got to give it to Latrell and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. They fought hard, they played hard, and they showed why they're a force to be reckoned with. And they look impressive, and they're my dark horse. If it comes to finals, they're my dark horse.
I think you brought up a great point. You talked about, obviously, the Melbourne Storm, obviously with Bellamy saying he doesn't think that they can turn it around. I think it's an absolute piss take by Storm trying to get the likes of Addo-Carr, trying to get Walshy to come over because he's not going to be at the Warriors. I think that's an absolute piss take.
Hey, you're not going to play finals, so why not play finals for the Storm?
No, that's an absolute piss take. If the NRL was seriously going to allow for this to happen, what is stopping? Okay, let's say the Roosters are coming 8th. What's stopping us from going to Addo-Carr and going, oh, we'll give you this, or who else is good? Oh, Kalen Ponga, if you're not concussed, come play for us. Then you got a star-studded squad. You're only paying them $20,000 a game. Like, it's an absolute joke. It's a piss take, and I think that for me shows how shaky Melbourne are at the moment. And there is bad things going around behind the scenes, not just injuries. If you're going to go, oh, Addo, can you please come back for the last 10 games because we really need you? No, you got rid of him because you thought you could do it without him. You brought in Xavier Coates. He's injured. Deal with it.
I think the transfer window or the deadline day should move from August 1 back to June 30, give it an extra month of football.
But I think it should be once the season starts, you're not moving. I don't think that you should move during the season. I don't think that's right that players can jump ship mid-season. It's one of those things where obviously the Roosters are benefiting at the moment from obviously Lodge jumping ship on the Warriors. But again, you left the Warriors because you weren't happy. You didn't want to play at the moment and you signed a contract with the Roosters. Even though it's benefited me, it just doesn't sit right with me. Season starts, you're there for 25 rounds. You don't want to play, that's cool. Forfeit your paycheck, go play for someone else next year. But like I said, I think that's an absolute piss take by the Storm. And I don't want to call them whingers, but this to me shows them being, when we're dominating, how good are we? When we're losing, or somebody help us. So I hope, you know what, I can't wait for them to play in that elimination game, and I really hope they do go out round one of the finals. But obviously it is Bellamy, it is Melbourne Storm, so you never write them off. But obviously talking about the main man, Addo Carr, he's in the conversation. He has bagged himself another hat-trick, a few assists. Birdo was on fire, but I look at that scoreline, Bulldogs 36, Titans 26, and it kind of worries me for both teams. I don't think either team would be happy conceding the points they did. For the Bulldogs, obviously, they do all but secure they're not going to get the spoon this year. The Titans are in that race with the Tigers. What do you make of this one? Was this a none of us can play defense, so let's just see how many points we could score? Should we say that they were trying to raise money for Sportsbet Try July? Or is this just two teams that have all this attack, but they're just struggling in that defensive line?
To me, it looked like a college NFL team playing against each other, just scoring the numbers and all out attack, no defense, and just go for gold. Yeah, it was good to see Try July rack up that cash grab. But was the Fox offside in his first try when he ran almost 100 meters?
No, come on,
was
mate.
He? Come
on.
He?
If you watch the game, they broke this down at halftime. They showed it. His foot was on the line. As soon as that ball rolls backward, it's not when the player picks it up because you can't stand there and waste time. As soon as that ball rolled backwards, he's leaned down. He's onside. They've reviewed it. Move on. There's more controversy to come in the next game. There's more controversy to come.
I'm not commenting on it. I just wanted your opinion because we haven't talked about that because we had more.
All I know, if this is my opinion now, wait till we talk about the Cowboys and the Tigers. Then you'll get my opinion on that.
Righto. So you don't believe he was offside. I'm not going to comment on it because I don't think he was off. I don't think he was on. I don't really care. This was
a fence sitter. He's a fence sitter. He doesn't care. He's a fence
sitter.
These
two teams don't really matter to me because if one wins, they avoid the wooden spoon and they don't apply pressure to the top 8. So it's just like a nothing game to me. But obviously you got Waddell still in the judiciary panel. Obviously we're recording this. The judiciary panel has adjourned to consider their verdict. So as we've been talking, I've just been refreshing this page non-stop and I haven't got anything for the last 24 minutes, and now I finally got something. So we'll hopefully wait and see his eye gouge incident, but toss the season out for both teams and move on.
I mean, it's pretty crazy if you think this. Obviously, Corey Waddell. For those of you who don't know, he did allegedly eye gouge Tino. It doesn't look good if you're seeing it from a still image. It doesn't look good if you're watching the video. The only defense I will give to him is there's a lot of bodies and hands in between him and actually seeing where Tino's eyes were. Yeah. I'm not going to go as far as saying he's guilty or innocent, but I think if he was found guilty, I don't think there's going to be many people that are against the decision. But I think the scary thing for me is he started at 8:40. It is now 10:06. He entered his guilty plea at 8:45, and we still don't have a decision. So
it's terrible.
I mean, it's terrible. Obviously, he's come in with a lot of defense. I believe his last defense was, if I really eye gouge him, why is Tino not here? Why is he not testifying live? So when you get to that point, you're probably all out of ideas and you're kind of trying to hope for the best. But I think he is set for a spell on the sideline, whether that's 1 week, 2 weeks, or more. I don't think you can really complain when you see the still image. But Baxter, if you had to give your quick verdict, are you saying guilty or not guilty?
Innocent until proven guilty. Don't think the evidence is there.
So you're saying given the evidence we've seen the video, we've seen the film, say you were in charge, would you be letting him run, or would you be saying
I'd let him run?
Maybe here's a fine.
I wouldn't even give it a fine because, as you said, as you see in the video, there's so many hands, there's so many. Basically, he's come in with a seatbelt sort of style tackle. He's gone over. He doesn't know where his hand's going. And as the judge said, this image looks bad. And he goes, yeah, but it's for 1 split second that you're showing. You don't show the 10 leading up to it, the 10 behind afterwards. So, as I say, you're innocent until proven guilty, and I don't think the evidence is there to prove him he's guilty.
All right, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that one because we're going to have a bit of fun in this last game.
Go.
You know what? Like the last 7 games, I have sat here. I have started the conversation. I'm going to pop the score up. I'm going to pop myself on mute. I'm not going to butt in. I'm going to give you a minute or two.
On.
No, I'm going to give you a minute or two. I'm going to let you speak purely. Don't go straight to the controversy. There was a game before it. Talk about the game. And then when we have the controversial topic, I'll probably put myself off mute and have a bit of fun.
All right. For 79 minutes and 50 seconds, the Cowboys did not deserve to win the game. We got outplayed by a wooden spoon as at the moment running team. And did they deserve to win the points up until then? Yes. I will say that now. I have my opinion, and I was joking with other people around on Facebook, and I have apologized to a few people and saying 99% of the time I'm just here for a laugh and I'm here to rile people up, and obviously people didn't take it that way. So I will formally apologize to those who did get offended if I did come across offensive or disrespectful in any way. So I want to say that. Let's get down to it. Let's get down to it. This is how I see it, and this is where I'm coming from. So whether you look at it on NRL, if you're watching Channel 9 or Fox Leave, there's 1 second left to go. The kickoff starts. We're going to get to that in a minute. Ball goes up. Obviously, Kyle Felt runs. He sort of starts off wide and comes sort of towards the ball where the player sort of does this sort of loop-de-loop. I wouldn't say loop-de-loop, but sort of a arc run where he starts running not towards the ball, but then ends up at the point of collision running towards the ball. Yes, he has all eyes for the ball, but we've looked at the rules. It doesn't matter if you're looking up at the ball or whatnot. In the defense for the Cowboys here, I'd say he wasn't standing there at the time of impact, so that's one of the rules against escorting. And I forget what the other one was, Tony. We sent it in our little group chat, so I'm just going to pull it up really quickly here. I should have had this up beforehand. Oh, my God. But where was it? We've just been talking nonstop about this. This is terrible.
Why are you looking for that? I'll jump in. I'm not going to go too far. I'm still going to let you talk your point before I give my thoughts on the incident. But you made a point in saying that the Tigers player made an arced run. But you also made a point in saying Kyle Felt started wide and came in, then went towards the ball. So they both did the exact same run. And in the rules of an escort, I think if you're going to go black and white, every single kick that goes in the air, it's an escort, because there is no way in the world as a Tigers player, and obviously when you find that, just jump in. But as a Tigers player, you're up 1, there's 1 second to go. The likelihood of them catching that ball, flicking it through the line and scoring a try is almost, I'm going to say 1,000,000 to 1. So there is no way you're purposely going to take a player out, especially when, I'm not going to lie, it was a shocking short dropout. It went about 12 meters. It went about 15, 20 meters. It was a shocking dropout.
Kickoff.
Have you found it? Or would you
Yeah, I
like me
have
to keep
found
going?
it. No,
Okay,
I
go
found
for
it.
it.
Okay, I found it.
Go for it.
I mixed my words up. Kyle Felt doesn't sort of, he sort of starts out well because obviously he's the winger. He's expecting it to be closer to the 40-meter mark than it is the 25 or 27, whatever it officially is. So he sort of started and he's running directly to the ball. He does do a little bend because obviously the ball drops a little bit forward. But for a play for not to be an escort, right? It says here, one, a defending player moves directly towards the ball. At the start of the Tigers play, did not move directly to the ball, but ends up.
Objection.
Hold on. But ends up doing so at the time of collision. And the second part of that is takes up a position prior to the ball being caught. Now, the ball hadn't been caught at that stage. So where I believe Ashley Klein has gone with it, he's looked at this and gone, well, number one, he hasn't done that. And number two, he hasn't done that. So I'm going to rule in that favour. But I listened to many, many people and they go, well, you've got to look at it as a sort of a grey area because this and that, rah. And I'm like, well, what do we want? We want a grey area or do we want a black and white? Because the moment we want black and white, people go, well, yeah, but this wasn't so bad and this wasn't so bad. Let's go back to grey. And then when things get like out of the control like this, the way it did, they want to go back to black and white. Now, I will clap my hands and say, well done to the on-field referee for the way he conducted himself in that last second, because the NRL have come out and cleared that he did nothing wrong. The on-field referee. Now, you didn't see it. I didn't see it on Monday. It is now Tuesday, and you brought up that Val Holmes was offside at the time of the kick. And this is where I come back to black and white, grey area, because black and white, it should be a penalty to the Tigers, game over, finito. So why aren't we talking about that instead of what happened? And just, this is more of a bunker problem than a player issue from a Tigers, Cowboys, or official that was on the ground. Why this is a total bunker? I'm not going to even say it because I will swear, but referee can only see it in one split session. The bunker has time. There's no time limit on, there's no a minute. He's got to look through 30,000 images to see what it is. He has the time. It's not like the play we're holding up time. This is at the play will be dead if you rule whatever you rule. So I think the challenge was acceptable. The referee blew his whistle. The NRL have confirmed that Graham Ansley, has come out and said in his opinion, he didn't believe there was such enough evidence for it to be overturned to an escort. Now, mate, I don't know. As I said to you in the chat,
hold on.
As I said to you in the chat, I think he's got dementia, or he didn't have his glasses on at the time, and I just started throwing it out there. But look, we're seeing way worse things been overturned by the bunker, aka Matt Lodge. He takes a settler in front of the post. This is Warriors vs Canberra up in Queensland, and he feels a little bit of a hit up the top. Referee says to play on. Bunker comes in and goes, "Nah, he was hit high," and he admit that he dove. So there's another reason the bunker has done another thing wrong. Another one.
If you're trying to make yourself sound better, that you got to resolve go your way. You're not doing a good job.
I'm not defending me. I'm just defending. People were saying, "Oh, the Cowboys are cheats. The Cowboys are cheats," and it's like, well, hold on. The Cowboys didn't do anything wrong for the referee or the bunker to overturn the decision. They did nothing wrong. The Tigers players did nothing wrong on the field for them to do whatever they needed to do. So this is not a player or a ground official problem. This is a bunker issue. Now, the NRL spends $2 million per season on this thing to give us what? A 60% success rate. Now, what do? Do you scrap the whole thing and we just go back to whatever the referee calls is? Don't worry about reviews and don't worry about replays, or do we come back to it where there's only a few select people for that weekend, or do we do like the NFL, where a captain challenge is made and that on-field referee goes and looks at it himself? We see it in soccer and overseas. You know, something happens and he goes to the monitor. He makes the call. He's in control of the game. So this is not a cheating of the Cowboys. Will there be 2 points stripped on? I don't believe so. There's been far worse decisions in the past, and people gone, well, what goes around comes around, and that's what I believe has happened. You know, last week we got robbed of a try that black and white, yeah, but grey area says that it should have been allowed. So we lost one last week. We got this one this week, and yeah, look, whatever comes out with it through the courts, if that's what the Tigers are going down to, I'd love to sit back and watch it, because Ashley Klein's got a lot of explaining to do. He's gone from the number one referee, the ranked number one referee in the NRL, to now missing the whole weekend. So I have your thoughts, Tony. I thank you again for just letting me have my say. And look, I'm not going to defend anybody, but I think that the finger pointing needs to be focused more at the bunker than it is and at anybody else.
All right, well, I'm going to be the people's champ. I'm putting up the score on the screen. It was the Tigers 26. It was the Cowboys 25. Now, a lot of what you said, I'm going to say is valid. I agree that the on-field referee did do his duty in the fact that they did have a right to challenge. Obviously, we did debate that. At the time, you couldn't hear the whistle because of everything that happened. I don't know if they turned the microphones off, but it has been clarified via the referee's microphone that the whistle was blown. So my issue is no longer with the challenge. My issue then falls to obviously Ashley Klein.
That's where I go.
Every time a challenge goes up, okay, let's say a ball goes up, someone dropped the ball, the bunker goes, listen, we're going to challenge the case of a knock on, but while we're here, we're also going to see what happened here. Now, the Tigers players were blown up about the offside on the day. He said, why haven't they looked at the offside? And the referee just said, it's a penalty, it's an obstruction. So the fact that the referee, or not the referee, the fact that Klein, A, didn't look at it, B, the referee is standing there before the kickoff and saw that he was offside in an offside position. The referee was directly in line with him. He was watching the line. It's not hard to look down the line and go, hold on, you're offside, come back this side.
It is hard. In the split second, I understand that you might.
No, it's not a split second. It's not a split second. He walked them to halfway. He checked the line. He said, "Stay behind the line." While
before the kick, he was onside. Obviously,
no. When he checked if you watch the video, when the ref checks the line, Val Holmes is already in front of the line. He is already in an offside position, and that's what the Tigers were blowing up about and saying, "Why wasn't that looked at?"
That's not for the on-field referee to worry about.
That's the referee's job.
You commit. Look, we've seen throughout the whole 19 rounds that referees miss something. They miss something here, there.
But that's not a debate.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he can miss it, but then it's up to the bunker to have a look from the moment it was kicked and go back and go, okay, well, there's the foul. That's
we sit there and say he can miss it. Mate, drop him as a referee if he can look down the line, see a player offside and go kick the ball. He can see the player offside. He's in line with the whole team. There's a Cowboys player in front of him. That's one. Number two, Ashley Klein. If Ashley Klein's going to get dropped, the ref needs to be dropped. There's no doubt about it. Ashley Klein could not stand. Obviously, he made the final decision. Two things. You get 10 seconds to make a challenge. There was 30 seconds between when the ball was caught and touched in a surrender tackle to when the challenge was made. The challenge is dead. We saw Tedesco. We've seen Storm getting multiple arguments about this in the last couple of weeks, where the ref's gone, go away, your 10 seconds are done.
I think in that instance, the time, like the official time, was still ticking. Where this is, it's like, well,
but it doesn't matter. That's not the rule.
I know, but this is what I'm saying. It's black and white versus a grey area.
There is no grey. You get 10 seconds. There is no grey in that area. You have 10 seconds to challenge all your challenges.
We don't know who was in the ear of the referee. We don't know what was said. We don't know.
But again,
obviously it's going to come out. Obviously, it's going to come out. for whatever reason, I don't know what was said, why it took so long. But if you do watch Monday night's NRL 360 and you listen to the video they have, and it's got no outside noise, it's got no crowd noise, as soon as the referee blows his whistle, whether you want to call it a soft whistle or whatever, you can hear, and they believe it is Chad Townsend. It hasn't been confirmed that someone says, challenging it. Now, as I said, I don't know who it was. They believe it was Chad Townsend, being the only captain in the vicinity with a challenge up his sleeve. Well, if he said he's challenging it within the first 3 seconds,
There was the whistle.
But is he still entitled to?
Hold on. The whistle has been said to have gone after the referee confirmed time was expired. So he has confirmed with the bunker that time has expired. 5 seconds has gone past. 10 seconds has gone past. He's blown his whistle. He's challenged.
I don't believe it was 10 seconds, but I believe as soon as the referee had blown his whistle for time, for Dane Laurie, he surrenders in the tackle. So the referee blows his whistle because he's telling the player not to play the ball because time is expired. He's blown it once. We can all hear that. And then we can hear someone, as I said, we don't know who, saying challenging it. Now, to me, that's not even 10 seconds. So, as I said, should they be entitled to that challenge because they've called out for it so quickly? Or are we waiting for the fact that the referee's then walked around because he's hearing something in the earpiece, and then finally once he gets Chad one-on-one and he sees him in his face and he goes, "You want to challenge?" and he goes, "Yeah, challenging for escort."
Okay, but let's say, what's he got in his ear? What has he got in his ear? Because the bunker is not allowed to get in contact with the referee unless it's high contact.
I agree with you there, and I don't know. You don't know. The public doesn't know. This is
you know what I know. There was a $200,000 bet placed on the Cowboys, and if that's not Ashley Klein. If that's not Ashley Klein, I don't know who it was because no one is dumb enough to make a call that bad. Now,
look, I was there and there was no money transferred into him. Look, it's not my fault.
In the grand scheme of things, this means very little to the Cowboys. They're going to have a top 4 finish. They're probably going to finish inside that top 2. To a side like the Tigers, and now they absolutely busted their guts. That's probably the best I've seen the Tigers play all year.
I'll give them that.
They've admitted that they got up for James Tauma's 300th game. Now, that's not only ruined that game, these players are going to have – it's tarnished it. These players are probably going to get a wooden spoon, which means what club's going to really want to sign a player that's going to cop the wooden spoon from that club? The bunker, I still don't think that 1 week suspension's enough for Klein.
No, I don't think so either.
So obviously, I don't see this going into legal action. The results aren't going to get overturned. That's not going to happen. You're kidding yourself. If you think that's going to happen.
I think it's more so what was happening in the year. If the bunker was intervening or saying something. We don't know. No one knows.
But again, nothing's going to change. What are they going to? What do the Tigers really think? What they're going to say? Oh, listen, we'll give you 20 points. You can play finals. No, it's not going to happen.
What happens if it comes down to the last round, right? And the Tigers are behind by 4 and against, but because of this action, because of this game, if they got the 2 points, they wouldn't be wooden spooners. So every point counts. Every point counts.
But it's not that we're tarnished. You get a wooden spoon. What punishment does that give to you, really?
Well, it's their first ever, apparently, joint venture wooden spoon if they get it. So for them, it's more about reputation of we've never received a wooden spoon. So, look, I see people are signing a petition. I've seen it like within less than 12 hours. There was a petition for overturn the score, and it got like 15,000 plus signatures on a 10,000 thing, and I was just like, it's not going to get you anywhere. We've seen in the past that blunders have been made, and the NRL have just rolled with it, learnt from it, and moved on. So,
I mean, I'm just happy now that every time someone brings up that little 6 again call, I've got something to distract them with, and I can talk about the Tigers now. So they'll leave me alone being a Roosters supporter. But obviously, we are pushing the 50-minute mark. Nothing I don't think is gonna come up, obviously, from this debate. Has there anything that's come forth? Obviously, with Adele, has he been suspended?
Yeah,
Has he?
so obviously we're at 10:27. It was 5 minutes ago. Waddell has been found guilty of a dangerous contact. Now it hasn't been said what is going to fall out from this, but he is guilty now. Whether it gets downgraded or it gets upgraded, or how many matches, it's one for people to watch afterwards. Sucks, but I don't think he should have got. I think he should have got off.
Yeah, obviously, like I said, it could have gone either way. He has been suspended, so we will obviously touch base on that in the previews based on how many weeks he does get. But obviously, Baxter, thank you for joining me. It has been a lengthy debate. So if you are still here when you are listening to this, please hit like, please hit subscribe, share it with a friend, share it with a family member. Just really help us spread it because it's the only way we are going to grow. We got a few good views, obviously, on our previous show, so we'll run those the same way this week. But
good.
obviously,
Keep it going.
Baxter, I'm not going to agree with you. I think Cowboys were robbed. Tigers.
Oh, yeah, the Cowboys were robbed. We have it on.
Well, hey, you were robbed with the Sharks to the 7-tackle set, so it is legitimate. You were robbed back then, but I think the Tigers were robbed. I just hope that they can come out and give up that fight this weekend and keep fighting for those competition points. But as always, mate, thank you for joining me, and I will see you soon for the preview shows.
Yeah, peace.
Go to Roosters.